Hey everyone! Today we're tackling something really special, a powerful technique for a timeless and incredibly meaningful goal, memorizing the Quran. We're going to explore a method that goes way beyond just repeating words, taking us to a much deeper level of understanding and connection. Let's jump right in. So, have you ever tried memorizing something really important and just hit a wall? You know how it is. Some verses are long, they're filled with these intricate meanings and ideas all woven together. It's a totally common struggle. But what if there was a way to actually see the structure inside the words? Well, there is. We're about to break down a powerful system that actually marries deep, analytical study with modern memory science. It's a two-part method that's designed to shift you from just rote learning to a really profound, lasting memory of the text. So let's get into this new way to memorize. The journey here doesn't start with just repeating words over and over. It starts with first understanding their architecture. Okay, so here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to analyze the text using what's called a mind map. Second, we'll imprint it in our memory using a visual technique. And finally, we lock it all in with focused repetition. You see, each step builds perfectly on the last one. Let's start with the absolute foundation of this entire method, the analysis. This first step is all about creating what the source material calls a mind map. So what exactly is a mind map in this context? We're not talking about your average brainstorming chart with bubbles and branches. No, this is a systematic way of deconstructing a verse. You're basically a detective, searching for its core building blocks. What are the direct commands? What is being prohibited? What are the key concepts? And, this is a big one, where are the contrasting ideas? Theory is one thing, but let's make this real. We're going to use a fantastic example from the source, the 187th verse of Surah Al-Baqarah, which talks about our conduct during the fasting month of Ramadan. The mind map is an absolute powerhouse for locking in metaphors. Take this beautiful phrase describing the relationship between spouses. It's about mutual protection, comfort, and closeness. When you isolate an idea like this, you don't just memorize the words, you remember the profound image behind them. It just sticks. And this perfectly illustrates the power of spotting contrasts. The verse defines the time for fasting using this incredibly vivid imagery. When you map it out, the white thread of dawn right up against the black thread of night, that contrast creates such a strong mental hook. It makes the timing rule practically unforgettable. The mind map also makes the rules crystal clear. By breaking down the verse, you're literally pulling out the direct instructions. It clarifies what's allowed, like eating and drinking at night, and what's prohibited under very specific circumstances, like intimacy during the spiritual retreat of itikaf. It turns a long sentence into a simple, clear list of do's and don'ts. Okay, so once you've analyzed the text and you really get its structure, you're ready for the second stage, imprinting it on your brain visually. Now this is a fascinating concept. It's called visual imprinting, or silent reading. The goal here is not to read for meaning. You already did that with a mind map. The goal now is to create a mental photograph of the page, to literally see the words and their exact placement in your mind's eye. So how do you do it? It's a three-step process. First, and this is the hardest part, you read without any sound, not even that little voice inside your head. Total silence. Second, instead of reading word by word, you fix your eyes on the very center of each line. And third, using your peripheral vision, you just quickly scan to the left and to the right. You do this again and again until the page feels as familiar as a picture you've seen 1,000 times. We've analyzed, we've visualized, and now it's time to lock it all in. This brings us to the crucial final step, reinforcement. This is where traditional memorization comes back in, but now it's supercharged. Seriously, because you've already understood the verse's structure and you have that visual picture of it, your vocal repetition is so much more effective. You're not just repeating sounds, you're tracing a map you already know by heart. Now, for the best part, the real power of this whole analytical approach is that it helps you discover hidden patterns that connect different verses, your very own memory hacks. While analyzing the verses on this page of the Quran, the source material uncovered this brilliant pattern in the final word of 4 consecutive verses. This is something you'd almost certainly miss with simple repetition, but it just becomes obvious when you use a mind map. And here it is. The verses end with keywords related to piety, then knowledge, then success, and finally transgression. This isn't just a random sequence. It's a logical, thematic progression. It creates the ultimate memory key for this entire section. Just remember that sequence. Piety leads to knowledge, knowledge leads to success, and the opposite path is transgression. By memorizing just these 4 keywords, you create an index in your mind that helps you recall which verse is which, ensuring you don't mix them up. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? True memorization isn't just about repetition, it's about engagement. By combining deep analysis, visualization, and then vocal practice, the act of memorizing is transformed from a chore into a deeply meaningful and connected process. And that leaves us with a final thought. This technique of analysis, visualization, and reinforcement, it isn't just for the Quran. I mean, imagine applying it to poetry, legal texts, or even complex scientific formulas. What difficult subject could you finally master with this method?